Blue Sun-Kissed makes it just for you. Lemon and a sparkle too. Beach Born, Beach Raised, Sun-Kissed Sparkling Lemonade. Sun-Kissed Sparkling Lemonade. It's beach born for a cool lemon taste. Beach raised for just enough fizz to make it sparkle. Beach Born, Beach Raised, Sun-Kissed Sparkling Lemonade.
To be remembered today. It was so, you know, you guys have been through this before, but Chicago Stadium was my first time being at the finals when they won. Well, of course, LA was the first time. But just to look around, you know, you're there for years and years and years watching, and just to see so much emotion poured out because it finally happened here. Of course, we all know that a Chicago team hasn't won a championship here since '63. So there's a lot of emotion to build up.
I think the emotion was built up because of what happened at the beginning of the season, you know, with Michael not going to the White House and telling everyone he wanted to be with his family, and then finding out later on there was a little golf involved, and then there was that gambling situation, and the book came out with the Jordan rules, and so I think that created a lot of turmoil that they had to live through. Plus, the fact of the matter is they had to play 82 regular season games as the world champions. Now, this was a season that started out with a loss to Philadelphia on November 1st when they got their championship rings, but it was a chase for a second championship that began in the most unlikeliest of cities, the city of Miami, Florida. For the Miami Heat, it was their first chance to be in the playoffs, but unfortunately they would go down 3-0. The average margin of victory in this series was 18 points, but Michael Jordan scored 56 points in the final game of the series. However, Miami held tough. They only lost by 4, 119 to 114. And then in the second series against the New York Knicks, it was rough. Xavier McDaniel and Horace Grant almost squaring off there. The X-Man was the X-factor in this series. Xavier McDaniel would score 26 points in the final game. It was a series that would go 7 contests. Michael Jordan would score 37 points, and Scottie Pippen would pick up 10 rebounds as the Bulls would beat New York in Game 7 at Chicago Stadium by a count of 96 to 88. And then the Bulls moved on to Cleveland. And against the Cavaliers, this was the team I thought would really give them a tough battle. But the Cavaliers went down in 6 games, 4 games to 2. The marshmallow factor at Richfield Coliseum, as one Chicago writer had called the Cavaliers cream puffs. And so the fans responded, and so did the Cavaliers. They played tough against the Bulls, who won game number 6, 99 to 94. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen led the way, each of them with 28 points to clinch the Eastern Conference Championship at Richfield Coliseum. And then finally, it would be against the Portland Trail Blazers for the NBA Championship. Portland, a team that some people thought would go down in 4 games to the Bulls, and Michael Jordan saying, hey, look, this first game performance by me is just something I can't believe. He scored 35 points in that first half of play in game number 1, including 6 3-point shots. But unfortunately for the Bulls, and fortunately for the Portland Trail Blazers, there was Clyde Drexler and Jerome Kersey. Drexler would match up very well with Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen, though, he played a big force for the Bulls. He had been hassled all year long by the media. Some people thought that perhaps Scottie Pippen did not have the wherewithal to step up and play a big game, but he did prove that in game number 6 on Sunday. Game 4, the Bulls lost that one. Clyde Drexler was the big man for the Portland Trail Blazers, as was Jerome Kersey as well. Game 5, Scottie Pippen came through. Michael Jordan started bagging the 3-point shots. And then in Game 6, the bench came through. Bobby Hansen with a big 3-point shot. B.J. Armstrong. But the man of the hour was Scottie Pippen. Came in that 4th period while Michael Jordan sat down, and Pippen led the Bulls. He led 4 guys off the bench as they led the Chicago Bulls to their 2nd straight NBA championship. In the final 6 minutes, it was Pippen and Michael Jordan who would bring them home. Michael with the strip and the slam. Between the 2 of them, they would score 19 points, all 19 of the last Bulls points in that final game as the Bulls win their 2nd NBA championship, 97 to 93. So it was a pretty tumultuous season. And now the question, I guess, begs to be asked, what's going to happen next year? Will there be a three-peat of Bulls?
I think there's a very good chance, Jim, and it's a real delicate task that befalls Jerry Krause now. You can't tamper too much. This team is young enough that they could defend the championship basically with the parts they have in place right now. But Scott Williams came out of a very bad meeting yesterday with Phil Jackson and Krause, so his future's in doubt. Stacey King's future's in doubt. BJ, Craig Hodges. This is going to be a very, you talk about the season being tumultuous, I think the off-season will percolate a little bit too. And I know things are percolating down in the crowd where Chuck Gowdy is standing by with Chicago's finest. Chuck?
Yeah, Tim, they certainly are. This is a very spirited crowd, but interesting. You may have the same observation that it doesn't seem to be nearly as hyped as it was last year, maybe because there aren't quite as many people out here, maybe because people have been through this before. As you know, however, after the disturbances following Sunday night's finals victory, the Chicago police were very concerned about providing an adequate level of security here today. The police department officially is saying they've got about 800 officers in and around Grant Park. I've got to tell you, I personally counted 100 officers just in the block of Columbus Drive that has been closed off for the Bulls motorcade to come in. There will be no parade this year, as you all know. All the activity will take place here on the stage. The police are saying they fear the big biggest problem here is going to be from pickpockets. And that is always a problem whenever there's a gathering of shoulder-to-shoulder people here in Grant Park. But this crowd seems to be just partying and having a good time celebrating the Bulls' second victory. Tim?
Well, you know, Chuck, it's an old comedian who said nothing happens till 11:30, and the lunch bunch is here, and 11:30 is just about to come up. So I think they'll be tuned, and the crowd is starting to grow already. People in the trees out back. So they're ready for the party. You know, one of the things you were talking about, the team changing next year. I think, though, that Bulls fans probably would put a lot of pressure on management to make sure they can compete against teams like New York, which is a very exciting team this year, and it'll be very exciting next year, too.
Well, the excitement's going to be hard to top from Sunday night at the stadium. That was an amazing game. Down by 15 points. The bench helped the Bulls get back in the game. Then Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan helped the Bulls win the game. Let's look back and listen and watch the beginning of one of the most exciting celebrations in Chicago sports history.
Drexler wanted the call on the rotating Grant, hitting him on the right side.
There, the jump ball with Horace Grant. The Portland Trailblazers and Coach Rick Adelman felt they'd been robbed by the officiating, but every time the losing team's going to feel that way. The jump ball that ensued led to the ball going back to the Bulls, and initially the call says Portland's way.
That's going to happen. I mean, NBA officials, they are human as well, and they've got probably the best officials in sport.
Well, it's the toughest game in the world to call, and all the players ask for is consistency. It's not always there. I would have to say the officiating went both ways in that series, but Michael Jordan went only one way, and that was up.
You know, in that fourth period, with Portland leading by 15 points, you had the feeling, though, that if the Bulls could get within 7 or 6 points with about 5 minutes left, that they could win this ball game. Because, and I know it's a cliche, but it's an apt cliche in sport, momentum. I mean, you could just see the momentum drain from Portland and see it shift to the side of the Bulls.
And then here it was, folks. Eruption time in Chicago.
Look at Michael. He's like a kid at Christmas. It's almost like when he made that shot May 7, 1989 against Cleveland.
Sweet.
The wildest scene that I've ever been involved with, and Jim, Diane, and I will all say this, it was a real murderous situation to work, but it was absolute heaven for everybody else involved.
Well, they're hanging from the treetops here at Grant Park as the rally continues for Repeatable here on Channel 7. Stay with us.
Sports One presents World Champion Bulls memorabilia exhibition and sale today and tomorrow. Specials include Bulls World Champion t-shirts, regularly $15 each, now only $6.87 each. These beautiful official World Champion Bulls caps, regularly $15 each, now $5.87 each. Locker room shirts and caps, the hottest graphics and the widest selections here now. To receive your free gift at the Sports One Superstore nearest you, call 1-800-468-1499. That's 1-800-468-1499.
Nothing can stop Batman's return. Now at McDonald's, Batman Returns is on a dramatic series of 32-ounce collector cups straight from the summer's biggest movie. On top, there's a flying frisbee bat disc lid. Inside, a superheroic serving of a large soft drink. You can collect all 6 Batman Returns cups, each at a special price, because what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. What do you want?
As a first-time buyer, I love the no-hassle approach.
There's a new, easier way to buy a car at your Ford dealer. It was great.
We loved it.
Now every new 93 Ford Escort LX model in stock has one price, $10,499. 3-door, 4-door, 5-door, even wagon. All well-equipped, all at the same great price.
The imports all had price increases. Escort actually came down in price.
Come see your Ford dealer today and experience a simpler way to buy.
4 Escorts, one price. There's nothing more to say.
Ooh, and Absolutely wonderful day for a big party in the park, huh?
It must be 15 degrees cooler than it was last year. I remember roasting up here.
Yeah.
I got a sweater on because I wanted to feel the heat. I wanted to get into that fever pitch, but it is absolutely perfect, and it's just a perfect way for Chicago to bring in the greatest celebration of all time.
We got a nice breeze coming in off the lake, too, so that certainly helps.
You know, I'll tell you, the party in the stadium the other night, I didn't think they could ever top that in the world, but that was a party of all parties. It was like the Bulls turned the basketball court into a giant dance floor.
Time running down, the Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the second straight season.
It was literally a burst of relief for Bulls fans who've enjoyed a season of victories they came to expect. And then a roller coaster of emotion during the playoffs, which featured some scary defeats. So they screamed for their Bulls to make a curtain call. After all, it's the first time a Chicago sports team has won a title at home since the '63 Bears. Steve Shanwald isn't marketing director for nothing. He said, give them some Bulls.
This is unbelievable. I mean, this is what Chicago wanted to see. The way we won this game in the fourth quarter. It's incredible. We started so hard for this one. This was much sweeter. Our fans were unbelievable. They gave us that lift, that support. We have 4 guys on the floor in that fourth quarter that never really had a chance to play much. We thought we had nothing to lose. We just went out there, tried to make some things happen, and it all worked out for us. I got a ring now, and it feels wonderful to be able to contribute. And you go through 7, 8 months together, and the season is so long. Yeah. But when you can come out, this makes it all worthwhile.
The Bulls, too, were relieved. At one point, they were beginning to believe their emotion had been drained. But that feeling hit so hard that even Michael Jordan had to dance a jig.
I just want to savor this one. We'll start thinking about that tomorrow. The greatest fans in the world. Isn't this beautiful, Jimmy and Diane? This is beautiful.
Could you believe that Michael actually thanked Chicago for drafting him?
Diane, you know, Jerry Krause was just saying, I want to savor this now, and then we'll worry about it tomorrow. He didn't lie, because at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, he was already thinking about the next season.
Well, let's see what the fans are thinking about with Chuck Gowdy. Chuck?
Diane, you know, I am always amazed at the emotion and devotion to Chicago championship sports teams. Look at what Mike Marshall here took, what, 3 weeks to paint?
Oh, about...
Yeah, 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. Okay, we'll give it to you.
This is an oil painting, if you can't see.
Right.
Why did you spend 3 weeks of your time painting this picture?
Because I love, well, for one thing, I love to paint. I love Amari, and Michael Jordan is one of my role models.
Now, this is unfinished, though, right? What does it need?
It don't need anything for Michael to sign it.
Well, that's what I was getting. Okay, you're trying to get Jordan to sign this thing. How to make it even more valuable, right?
Exactly.
Okay, Mark Marshall, one of a kind, although I did see one other painting down there. You must have some competition.
Yes. But it's not close to this.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. At least I'd agree with it in front of him. Okay, back up to you guys.
Chuck, even Michelangelo had competition.
Yeah, right.
There was
There's one
Raphael
guy down here has got a good painting.
He brings that one every year. But we'll be right back with more of the celebration from Grant Park. Stay with us.
To make sense out of the new small business program some phone companies are offering, we had to bring back our economics professor. Glenn, what do you think of AT&T's program?
Well, frankly, it has more restrictions than a student loan.
And MCI's?
My thesis didn't require this much work.
What about Sprint's business clout?
It's obvious just by looking how much simpler it is to save with Sprint. If you'd like, I could expand on its simplicity over dinner.
I don't think so, Glenn.
All creatures, great and small, sometimes get constipated. It's only natural. And most of them solve it naturally, without chemicals. Well, humans can too, with Perdue, a 100% natural laxative that works just as fast as all the chemical ones. It's as natural as, well, being constipated.
To you, it's just a peel. To us, It's where promises are kept. Sun-kissed. You have our word on it.
Look for fresh sun-kissed oranges at your nearby Dominick's, where you get quality and value every day.
Must be lunchtime in Chicago.
Yeah, but this is a lunchtime like no other lunchtime.
And the music's starting and the party.
Yeah, a few of the Bulls are already backstage, I'm told, and so we're just now starting to get some momentum here to get the crowd going when the people appear up on stage. Jerry Krause, that was a great bit with you guys. You know, having that live vantage point right by the dance floor was really sensational.
And you know, as we were bringing them over, I motioned over to our support people, get 3 chairs. Jerry's going to have to sit down. It was like last year in the locker room in Los Angeles. Jerry was like hyperventilating. I said, Jerry, we need to sit down, brother.
You know, Jerry's not the only one who needed to sit down. I had to get on a chair to interview Scott Williams and Cartwright. I mean, these guys are way up there, man. I was getting arm weary. So let's sit them all down to our level. But it's really, I thought that was incredible that Jerry Krause says, I just want to enjoy this now, because 8 o'clock yesterday morning, they were already in meetings, already talking about the future. And some would think that'd be a little cold. I mean, why don't you just get through the party today, and then we can always worry about next year. But, well, time waits for no one in the NBA as Mayor Daley arrives here to be part of the celebration.
You know, we were talking about the players that are going to stay, the players that are obviously Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant are just about untouchable.
Yeah, and then there's this rumor about Pippen being traded for Akeem Olajuwon, which that is not going to happen.
I think that...
Can you imagine Akeem coming and refusing to go into the game? I don't think so.
Well, in Akeem's situation, the problem I have when there's circulation in his legs, no, he was wearing surgical hose 2 years ago and last year, and the problem with his legs, so he might be damaged goods. Besides, Pippen for Olajuwon is not a straight-up trade. That's not an even trade as far as I'm concerned. And I think they do need Scottie Pippen, because when Michael Jordan retires, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think Michael Jordan will play next year and the year after that, maybe, and then say sayonara and see you later. Because he has played 10 or 11 seasons in 8 already.
But what do you think that might mean for the new stadium? I mean, the new stadium without Michael would be, I don't know, kind of a palace without a king.
It's a whole new ball game, that's for sure. And they're not going to have the same kind of frenzy and demand for tickets without Michael.
That's true. I mean, you know, everybody's got a reserve gas tank, and Michael perhaps has a little more than most of us mere mortals, but I mean, he only has so much left, and it's only going to be a matter of time before he has to retire and say, that's it, I'm going to go play golf. All right, look at that live shot from our Chopper 7 way up above Grant Field. Let's go now to Chuck Gowdy, who is down in the midst of that throng. Chuck?
Well, or at least as close to the midst as I can get. The security this year is keeping reporters out from the middle of the crowd. The cameras tend to churn things up, but we found these 3 fellows from Hammond, Indiana, graduated from high school this year, but they must not have learned much because they showed up here 24 hours ago, right, guys?
Right. Got it.
What have you been doing for the last day?
We've been waiting for the Bulls. We've been playing football, stuff like that, and in the back, and drinking a few beers, but our main reason for coming out is not only for the Bears, but all that looting that went on the night before. It's not a Bulls fan, you know. It's not a true Bull fan.
Wait a minute. How old are you guys?
I'll be 26 years old. I'm 18.
Okay. Well, you're the only one drinking beer, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good to hear. This fellow's put number 23, looks like tattooed on his chest here. I don't know whether you can see it or not. And I've got to tell you that there are a lot of signs being carried around here. Michael Jordan for president. I'm not sure Ross Perot's got anything to worry about, but he'd probably get a few votes out of this crowd.
Jordan's got it in the bag if he runs for president. We love Jordan.
Okay, guys, along with everybody else here, thanks very much. We'll toss it back upstairs.
No, Chuck, you can't have a president who plays golf 36 holes a day. I mean, Bush plays a lot of golf, but not that much.
Well, I know
and Michael wouldn't want
golf. The vice president plays a lot of golf.
Michael wouldn't want the job, believe me.
Maybe that's what's behind that White House thing. Just kidding. We'll be right back with the repeatable celebration. Stay with us.
I looked in the phone book, and there were pages of dentist advertising, but I couldn't tell one dentist from another. My friends would say, try my dentist, he's great, but they couldn't give me any specific information about him. As a mother, reliable information is very important to me. In 3 minutes, the operator from 1-800-DENTIST told me all kinds of information on the dentist. They answered all my questions about the dentist. I knew the dentist was pre-screened, and all of this was free to me, so why wouldn't you call 1-800-DENTIST?
Baby mine, rest your head
Baby Fresh is made with all natural ingredients like aloe vera. It's like a big fluffy washcloth, only better. After all, you are cleaning the dearest person in the world.
You're so precious to me, cute as can be, baby of mine.
Baby Fresh washcloths, as gentle with your baby as you are.
Snack it up, go on, pack it up. Oh yeah, stack it up, go on, stack it up. Chinette super strong, you bet. No, nothing stacks up to Chinette. No, nothing stacks up to Chinette.
It takes 5 of these paper plates to stack up to the molded strength of 1 Chinette paper plate.
Chinette super strong, you bet. No, nothing stacks up to Chinette.
Today's episode of Loving can be seen tonight after Nightline.
We've got some loving for you right here.
I love that music. I hear it every night at the stadium, too.
Well, and as I'm sure you guys have read, almost every wedding in Chicago now is starting off with that introduction, the Bulls song, as they call it.
That's great.
You know what that real music is, JR? I've never been clued in on that. I think we're going to have to check that out.
I just like, you know, when you hear that music, you know it's time for the Bulls.
Well, it is time for the Bulls right now, and Diane was mentioning a little earlier, it is starting to definitely fill up right now, and I think it's because we're starting a little earlier than we did last year.
Well, only you guys could get out of work at 10 o'clock and, you know, come to the park.
What
a lot
about
of people
you?
have to...
Diane goes on at 5 o'clock.
11 o'clock, yeah.
No,
They're filling it up.
It is really starting to fill up now, and we could easily top last year's crowd, which was enormous. And, of course, you're not going to get turnstiles here, so you're not going to get an accurate count. But we could get up around 400,000 or 500,000 people, maybe. What do you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's really neat, too. They're well behaved. I mean, I don't see anybody getting out of hand. I really didn't see too many people getting out of hand last year, but considering what happened after the Bulls won the championship, this is really nice to see everybody behaving themselves and having a good time.
Oh, it's wonderful. Let's ratchet it down. Maybe 200,000. I mean, who knows? Somebody knows. I think the record was the Pope.
Well, plus, I think the police will always tell you that if you get people here and everything doesn't start right away, this way they have a little chance to settle in. There's no pushing and shoving, and then everything can start. And then that way, you set the stage for, just like at the stadium the other night, the police were telling me that they took over right away. They didn't want a scene like the one in L.A. So they lined the court, and they told people, you're going to see if you stay in your seats. Don't jump out, or you will get out of the stadium. You will miss everything.
I thought security at the stadium was spectacular. They really did keep a good... I mean, that could have turned into a rough scene, but I think everybody was just so into the celebration. Nobody was going to get ugly. And nobody's ugly with you, right, Chuck Gowdy?
Well, no, they don't have the right to, I'll tell you, because with all these police here, how could anybody get ugly? This is a city of politics and protocol, as you know, and take a look at this. Here's the seating before everybody's sitting here and blocking the signs. Very interesting the way they've constructed the seating arrangement. Michael Jordan's got the front row seat, which you'd expect, but on the other side of the aisle, the front row seat goes to Johnny Red Kerr, the Bulls broadcaster. Next to him is Kathy Osterman, who's in charge of this event, the head of the mayor's office of special events. Next to her is the coach, Phil Jackson. He doesn't even get the aisle seat. And next to them, Mayor Daley. I think he may want to ask Kathy Osterman about next year's seating arrangement, Tim.
You know why Johnny Red Kerr gets the seat that he gets? Because he has to keep getting up and down.
Yeah, well,
there's Kathy now.
That could be it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's too concerned about the pecking order right now, just so we're all part of the fun. And a lot of fun is indeed expected. A lot of people want to know, is this bigger than the, everybody has to quantify something. Is this bigger than the Bears would be? I mean, it's apples and oranges, but I really think that you can say with a great deal of conviction that, as Jerry Reinsdorf and Bobby Hansen confer backstage, that the Bulls have definitely created a niche of their own. I mean, Bears, Bulls, Cubs, Sox, I mean, the Bulls have totally captured this town.
I think, though, that Jerry Reinsdorf hit it right on the head. He said even if the Bears were 8-8, I mean, and the Bulls were world champions, the Bears are still going to get a lion's share of the coverage because they are the Bears and they have the tradition. They've been here for 75 years. But that may change. I mean, if the Bulls can win 2 or 3 more championships and the Bears stay down in the cellar in the dumpster, I can guarantee it probably would change. Of course, Michael Jordan's a big reason, probably the biggest reason why the Bulls are front page.
Well, it is interesting that the Super Bowl, when the Bulls won in the Bears won, we always do that. Yeah. The Bears won in New Orleans, did about a 15 to 20% larger audience, but it was on a Sunday, and it was totally a city. Well, of course, the Bulls run Sunday night as well. So
but there aren't as many games in football, and
yeah.
It's one of those things that everybody's just sort of in Chicago. It's like a Bears town, you know.
Right.
It's
I think it's the tradition, too.
Sure.
I mean, Chicago's the city of big shoulders. You know, you got these big, bad Bears. I mean, basketball is so balletic. Michael Jordan is such an artiste. You know, I mean, I think Chicago has gotten used to that, but they're not as used to it as they are of the big, bad monsters of the Midway.
Well, and look at hockey. If hockey ever made it to free television, I think the Hawks would get a lot of respect, too. The Bears hit, you know, there's a lot of hitting, and people want that kind of thing. It's a tough sport, and that's just what Chicago is all about. So I think the Bulls have a lot of fans here around the world, as a matter of fact, but the Bears will always be first.
Well, the Bulls are definitely America's basketball team right now. The Knicks didn't sell out any games this year in New York except for the Bulls. As you see the banners flying over.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. Whoa, well. Yeah, well, that's live television for you, I tell you what.
A little political statement there.
Back to the mounted police, huh?
Nobody's looking up there anyway.
Yeah. Well, but some people were looking at television.
You know what I noticed about Portland, which was pretty funny? It was such a college atmosphere. I've never seen so many people bring signs to a game out of college in my life. They had signs. People just like brought them in droves. Here now the Bulls, you know, they pass them out at the door. But these people were very creative. They wrote things you look around at a slow moment in the game, and you had to laugh at some of the signs they had. It was pretty funny.
Well, Bobby Hansen said after the game, the celebration was like going back to high school.
Yeah.
And there was that exuberance that you don't feel unless you're very young or very successful. As speaking of Bobby Hansen, there he is backstage. And JR, you know Bobby wants to just gobble up every bit of this because a year ago he was in Sacramento.
Right.
He just can't even believe that he's here and a vital part of this, too.
If the security services would let him, he'd go out into the crowd right now and go and shake everybody's hand.
I bet you he would, and he'd probably get a great, well, obviously he'd get a great reception. Stacey King said an interesting thing to me, and so did Scott Williams yesterday. They said the reason it took Bobby Hansen so long to click is the Bulls have a very difficult system to learn. Right. You talk about the Tex Winter triple post and Johnny Bach's defense and all these kinds. It's hard for a guy to come in from another team and feel comfortable right away. And Bobby started clicking in the playoffs primarily because he was starting to feel comfortable.
I'll get back to the Hansen thing in just a second, but Chuck Gowdy is busy downstairs. Chuck?
Yeah. Well, this may be the power of television or just the luck of our coverage, but take a look what's happening on stage right now, guys. Kathy Osterman, the woman in the hat, in charge of the mayor's office of special events, now rearranging the seating here. Let's see, what are they doing up there? Well, now Jerry Reinsdorf's got a better seat, so does Jerry Krause, and the mayor, it looks like the mayor is being pushed off to the side a little bit more, but that's got to say something about the hierarchy in this city, right?
I think you're making a big deal out of nothing.
Well, we always do that, don't we? You accused us of that for years.
Michael Jordan in that number 9 jersey, that's the USA basketball team.
I can't believe they wouldn't let him wear 23 in the Olympics.
Well, no, you know what the story is behind that?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
He didn't want to wear 23. He said he wore 9 in the last Olympics, so he wanted to wear 9 this time as just a measure of good luck. But he could have had 23 if he wanted it.
I talked to Michael after the game and Sunday, and I said, you know, you're going to be exhausted because you only. I think this weekend they got to go to San Diego. He said,
right.
Don't worry, I'm not going to put out as much energy as you think in that Olympic thing. I don't think he's going to get too worked up.
Can we trust him?
And all the talk about him playing golf and everything, I think that may have pumped him up even more in that last game in Portland. That's all everybody asked him about, and he looked at the crowd sort of said, watch this.
I'll tell you what, though, if that heel was hurting him as bad as it was last Sunday in the championship game this Sunday in game number 6, he's got to be one extraordinary person to play through that kind of pain. You know, we were talking about Bobby Hansen for just a second. You know, when he came here from Sacramento for Dennis Hobson, he went with the Bulls to Boston and immediately played and immediately showed what he could do, and then he sat on the bench for the rest of the way. He never, ever lost his confidence. I used to talk with him maybe every 3rd or 4th game or so. He never lost his confidence. He said, I'm just going to be ready. I'm going to be ready when they call on me. And I'm going to say, just like a gunfighter out of the West, he was ready when they called his number.
Well, it was amazing, and he could hit those 3-pointers really kind of on command. As soon as he got in the game, almost his first shot he drained as the mayor talks to Jerry Reinsdorf.
He's talking about that chair situation.
Well, either the chair or the stadium situation. And Jerry Reinsdorf gets what he wants. I mean, he got Comiskey Park. Now he's getting the new stadium out on the west side. And Mike McCaskey, owner of the Bears, would love to have Jerry Reinsdorf's clout full or whatever it is that's getting Reinsdorf the stadia and not McCaskey. The Bears are going to be a team without a home.
Yeah, as far as the Bulls arena is concerned, there's an old line from Al Davis, just win, baby. And that's exactly what the Bulls have been doing the last couple of years, because, Tim, I think you'd probably agree with me, if the Bulls were not winning, there would be no stadium.
That's true, too. Well, I hope that Chicago takes a lesson from a place like Cleveland. You know, when we were there for the Bulls in Cleveland, and one thing, they're moving their stadium back to the city from the suburbs because they learned that you can't try to move a team to the suburbs and think that suddenly you can, I guess, keep the fans that you have if they have no access, and they became suburban. So now they have to move them back to the city from the suburbs.
That's one of Chicago's greatest strengths. That's one of Chicago's greatest strengths, that all the teams are downtown. They come in from all over the area. The Cubs, the Sox, the Bulls, the Bears, the Hawks all play downtown, and it draws the entire area together. And I really think the downtown stadium is the best way to go for whatever team is involved. As we see the fans standing up on top of the cars, it should be minutes away now that, that we hear the national anthem and the celebration officially begins, but maybe we have to assume that the Bulls are being tied up by the crowd as they were a year ago. Huh?
Well, they said that they were going to bring them in secretly this summer, instead of having a parade of cars coming down on Columbus Ave.
But as you know, there's no easy way to get in here unless you walk like we did.
That's true. I thought they would.
And I don't see Michael Jordan walking through this crowd.
No, not at all. I thought that they would bring them up Jackson Drive there, and
but there's no easy way in here with the crowd all around, and I'm really wondering what this secret plan is and how it's going to unfold, because really we walked through the crowd, and that was the easiest and only way to go.
As you see, a lot of people have not made their way into the park here yet because they're waiting for what would probably be a motorcade or some sort, but we know it's a double-decker bus. And they're waiting there just to get a glimpse, because once you're in the park and you're back behind the reserved seating area, if you don't have binoculars, you're not going to see anything really close up.
They've got the street pretty well clear from the Spaghetti Bowl, from the Dan Ryan on in, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But getting them through that crowd now, you know, people don't want to move. They see the Bulls, they're going to go crazy.
Well, obviously Bobby Hansen walked over here, got here some kind of way on his own, because he is back there talking with the mayor and Jerry Reinsdorf. And you know, Jerry Reinsdorf is an interesting case in point. I mean, here's a guy that has brought Chicago a couple of he's brought them 2 World Basketball Championships, a division championship with the White Sox, and still not trusted, not really liked too much.
I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because
he's a cold-hearted businessman. I think that's why it is. I mean, he's a tough guy.
Maybe he's not flamboyant like George Steinbrenner or Al Davis, some of the maverick owners that you have in professional sports. But I don't think any owner really is.
That's the point, Jim. Can you think of one sports owner that's beloved? I mean, there have been...
Well, you've got to make decisions that aren't going to be very popular. And when you have a place like Chicago, people are very sensitive about their players. Look at the Bears when they started to get older and they started to retire, and they pretty much knew their careers were over. People were still touchy. Let him play until, you know, he's in the...
I'll tell you, he has pushed all the right buttons. I'm talking about Jerry Reinsdorf. When he made the coaching change from Doug Collins to Phil Jackson, there was an uproar around this city that was... because people thought that Doug had got him so close. But Jerry Reinsdorf and Jerry Krause were able to see that in order to get to the next level, and this is no knock on Doug Collins, because I love Doug Collins. I think Doug Collins is one of the 3 greatest basketball minds on the planet. But he knew that Phil Jackson had the coolness, the calmness, and he also had perhaps that scholarly attitude to take this team the next step, which he did. It only took him 1 year. I mean, he got to Game 7 against Detroit 3 years ago, and then last year they won the championship, and this year they won the championship. So they really pushed the right buttons and made the right moves to get this team the title.
You can't argue with 2 world titles in a row. My personal feeling is I think Doug Collins might have gotten him to the titles too, because I think Michael Jordan is the constant in all of this, and Michael Jordan was destined to be a championship player. But that's only my opinion. And I say, Jim, you cannot argue with the results. Now, Phil Jackson is another interesting point here. Phil Jackson has changed. This year, he was very aloof. He had no press conferences after the game, after they won the championship. He went up to the podium, did his thing for everybody, and then disappeared. Yesterday, he was absolutely rude to the media. I mean, not that, you know, we're not looking for a handout here, except that if you're world champions, you'd think he'd be a little bit gracious and relaxed. He was very tense and put offish, and I'm wondering how he's going to behave next year as 2-time champion. He's getting to be very tough to deal with.
Perhaps I think that he was like that after that meeting that you saw Scott Williams come out of. I mean, I figure he knew that after you saw Scott Williams that you were going to ask him those questions about the makeup of this basketball team.
That's a good point, but he was that way before the meeting, too. He was that way. Matter of fact, we were out on the court talking to the players, and he kicked us out. He just, anyway, he did not do it in a nice way either.
Yeah.
He whistled at one of our competitors, and the whistle was so piercing, Bobby Hansen went like this. Whoa, what did we do? Busted again. Busted again.
He's that type of guy, though, because I remember when we were in New York earlier in the season, and Spike Lee and a few others came by to, see Michael Jordan, and they're friends with him and everything, and Phil Jackson came outside the locker room, and he was talking to everybody. He said, just media in here, and make sure Spike Lee doesn't get in because he's not a part of the media.
Well, even in Portland, remember the day of the game and after the shoot-arounds, Phil said, we're not going to have interviews, and most people had to get stories on the air that day before the game started.
Phil's tough.
It was tough.
And he's going to get tougher, I have a feeling.
Well,
hey, but nobody's tougher than Chuck Goudie, though, right? All right, take it away, Chuck.
Well, the Bulls during the regular season are very conscious of providing some special seating for people with disabilities, and the city has tried to do the same thing here today. Up above the crowd, they have provided some special seating for folks in wheelchairs, for people with other disabilities, provided ID at the front door, and they allowed these people to come in and really have a bird's-eye view of the stage here. Sheila Tucker is the head of the mayor, or the deputy head, right?
No, I am the public information officer
okay. Well,
for the mayor's office for people with disabilities.
Was this in place last year?
I believe we did have a section for persons with disabilities.
And what's the purpose of this up here today?
Well, the purpose is to make Chicago the most accessible city in the nation. Since this is a very outstanding occasion, we wanted to make sure that equal access is provided to all persons with disabilities.
You know what they're about to see here in a minute? The Bulls. Let's take it back up.
Yeah, you're right, Chuck. The Bulls are pulling into our picture right now.
And there goes the crowd.
The big old bus carrying the Bulls. Now, what happened to Bobby Hansen? How come he missed? Did he miss the bus, or he wanted to get here early?
He probably spent the night here with the fans last night just to make sure he had a seat up there.
He was in that crowd at 6 o'clock in the morning.
He wants to make sure that he's going to get his ring.
I thought Bobby Hansen had the line of the playoffs when we asked him why, all of a sudden now he's the people's choice and everybody loves him. He said he's the Ross Perot of the NBA. The less he does and the less he says, the more people like him. I thought that was a great line. I said, Bobby, did you rehearse that? He says, no, it just kind of popped into my head right then.
I remember Scottie Pippen when he first came to Chicago, and I had done an interview with him, and he said the most exciting thing about playing for Chicago was, he said, I heard that when the players get introduced, they have their own spotlight.
Scottie said that?
Scottie said that.
Scotty's a homeboy,
No, he's a home front. Now he's got his commercials and everything.
Oh, yeah, he got real mature in a hurry. Well, and as we watched them come down, it's got to be a difficult situation for Scottie Pippen being 1A. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because Michael Jordan is so king, and obviously Scottie is vital to this club. People say he's, in a way, the most valuable player because when he's on, the Bulls can't lose. Right. But it's got to be tough to play in Michael Jordan's shadow. It's great, but it's also tough.
I think he realized that, and what helped that relationship, because they have a very good relationship, is that Michael helped Scottie with his endorsements. Michael helped Scottie get that Nike endorsement, that one all by himself, and Michael has helped Scottie get other endorsements and has really helped him shape his career and helped to shape his talent, because Scottie, people may disagree with me about this. Michael Jordan is an extraordinary athlete, but what he does is he provides you with great athletic talent and a great superior mind. Scottie, I think, is a better athlete than Michael. He's got better tools. And the day that Scottie Pippen puts it all together, mentally and physically, you are going to see one heck of a performance.
Well, plus Michael is Mr. Personality.
Well, we're going to see one heck of a performance starting just about now. The music's starting. The crowd is getting into it. They realize the Bulls are right around the corner. Let's stop and listen to some of this.
We will rock you. Buddy, you're a young man, hard man, shouting in the street. Gonna take all the world someday. You got blood on your face, a big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place. We will rock you. We will rock you. Buddy, you're an old man, poor man, pleading with your eyes, gonna make you zombie someday. You got mud on your face, big disgrace. Somebody better put your bag into your place. We will rock you. Sing it.
There's Johnny Bach with the ace of spades coming in behind Phil Jackson with the trophy. As
Jim
There's
Clemens.
the Bulls entourage backstage.
Tex Winter, the innovator of the triple post offense. Jim Stack, who provides great scouting for the Chicago Bulls, along with Jim Clemens on the road all year long.
Oh, man, they feel it now.
Like a rock concert.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Stacy King.
My man, Stacy.
The left-hander from Lawton, Oklahoma. You know, that guy's taking a lot. He's taking a lot of heat, and he's always smiled through all of it.
I'd smile, too, if I was getting paid over $1 million a year.
And he's going to get a little over $2 million next year. The Bulls keep him. There's Michael.
There's the man.
Horace, Scott Williams, Will Perdue. He didn't see a lot of playing time in the Western Conference Series. Scott Williams, B.J. Armstrong. There's Scottie Pippen, John Paxson, good news, Cliff Livingston. Now you knew they would trot out Queens the other day. Other cities would love to be doing this right now.
I wish my kids were here.
You realize that
maybe they are, and I don't know it.
The entire city of Portland would be represented right here in the park.
That's so true. It's pretty close to the truth. Portland's what, less than 400,000 people?
City limit.
Wow. You think about next year too. As I do my analysis, I don't think Portland's going to make it next year for the Western Conference Finals. I think I'm going to go on record right now. San Antonio will represent the West next year. And the Bulls start to come on the stage with their wives and girlfriends, and the crowds feed them. And it's just one big love-in.
Hour.
I wonder if that's Stacy King up there with the video camera. Last year, Scott Williams brought his video camera to record the crowd looking back at them.
I'm glad we have a tape of it.
In the regular season, 15-7 in the playoffs. The world champion Chicago Bulls. The 1992 NBA Championship celebration. The Chicago Bulls over the Portland Trailblazers in 6 games.
This is my favorite stadium song. You know, the crowd now that was out on the street is beginning to pour in here. And now, Tim, it's starting to look like Pope Day.
Amen. Amen. That's right.
That lunchtime crowd is coming over from all these office buildings. I'll tell you what, even though I'm up here in the shirt and tie, I wouldn't be down there in the shirt and tie today.
The people way in the back, it's hard to imagine what it must look like. And I can see why these people would get here at 6 o'clock in the morning if they really want to be part of it. It's kind of tough if you're not right down front. But, I mean, even if you're in Evanston right now, you got to be feeling the vibrations. Yep. It's really a very powerful, powerful experience.
Now, you know this is a special day for fans, but imagine being the players. You walk out today, and this is what you say.
Well, I asked Michael about that after the game. He was kind of holding court, and people were coming in and kissing his ring after the game in the locker room, as well as he should, I guess. I said, does this ever get old for you? He says, no, man. Everyone is up at a higher level. And I said, what about you when you're out in front of the people at Grant Park? He says, man, that's the greatest of all. You just see that sea of people. And just has to, even a personality bigger than life than Michael has to be affected by it.
This is what he works for. I mean, arguably, I mean, this guy is one of the hardest workers in all of sport. I mean, he pumps iron every day, exercises aerobically every day. Even on game days, this guy does that kind of work.
Well, that's why he's able to play through that kind of pain that you were talking about, Jim.
There's the Lovables backstage as they get ready to salute the crowd and cheer Chicago on.
Now, that's a tough job, too. Those young women don't get paid, do they?
And they audition for you, well, a minimal fee of like 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah, $15 a game.
And they have to audition for every game.
For every game?
For every game.
Well, there's like 25 of them.
Knock me down. For every game?
There's 25 of them, and they choose 16 for each game.
Oh, man, that's worse than the Bears. Worse than the Bulls. Woo,
at least if you make the Bulls, if you get past the 52-game limit, you know you're in for the season.
That's right. That's cold. And there they go. They're hot.
I'm sorry, not the 52nd game, the 52nd day of the season. This is the song that turns them all on at the stadium, too. When I hear this song, I have to put my laptop computer down.
It's all become part of Chicago lore. The music, Diane, you're talking about that, the songs that you particularly like. Once you go to the stadium, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I have a country bumpkin brother who lives up in Wisconsin, and he's the most wonderful, unaffected guy in the world, and I brought him down to his first Bulls game, and he almost wet his pants. It was so exciting. Tony, I love you. It was great to have you down here.
What's the name of this song?
Gary Gritter's Rock and Roll.
Okay, now. You got it.
You know Tim knows.
Hey, top 40, baby. Top 40.
That and the blues.
Yeah, man. When I was playing music, it was James Brown and it was the Supremes. But it has an identity all its own now once the Bulls have gotten a hold of it. It's all the Bulls songs.
You know, I've been to many of the arenas around the NBA, and they play this song there, and I'm telling
Not
hey,
the same.
Please,
I know.
cut that out. Stop copycatting.
Remember Cleveland? We were like, wait.
Well, let's see if it comes on as strong in the new building, because a lot of the magic has to do with that great old building on the West
in
Madison
Chicago,
Street.
people have big mouths. They can yell here louder than you can even hear them in Portland.
But you know the
every place
acoustics.
else. There's 10 of them in the stadium, and they're louder than the people that live there.
But the acoustics in the stadium are really ear-splitting.
I've been assured by Steve Schonwald that they have talked to the architects, and that they are going to make sure that the new Chicago Stadium is just as loud as the old Chicago Stadium.
Well, it's pretty loud out here, too. Let's listen.
Man, this is fantastic. I love this.
Here come the guys.
I think it's time to let the show begin. Uh-oh. Benny the Bull on stage. No, not there. There. Oh, Benny already left. He gave Kathy Osterman a big
Welcome to the 1992 championship rally for the Chicago Bulls. So let's get on with the show, and let's give another rounding applause for the Lovables.
Come on, let's give it up for the Lovables, people. on, Kathy. Get it going now.
Kathy's waiting for the Bowles brothers to make their way through the crowd and the Lovables to come back and get into position. Charles says, bring on the Bowles.
Well, these are hors d'oeuvres right now. Benny's got some steps, huh? Get down, Benny, get down.
In that outfit.
Woo!
He said he loses about 5 pounds a game.
He looks like Don Knotts under that costume.
He's a little guy, too.
On the mic and get raw, back to back, front to front, door to door. Everybody dance to the new sound, rock and roll, soul to soul. I bring it on down from the bottom.
You know, the Lovables had their own little party the other night after the game, too.
Oh, is that right?
I think they were just rocking the words to the locker room. They're a nice bunch, young ladies.
So loosen your body and let me take control. Let's rock and roll.
Give it up.
I think they just made that song up, because I've never heard that rap artist.
You
I've
haven't?
heard them all.
Oh, that's
I've
the
heard 'em
tune
all.
there. Play that beat? No?
Never heard that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
When did they
Well, I've
play
been in
that before
Portland
you
for a
next
week.
year? That's right.
Remember that.
And now a big Chicago welcome for the Bowles brothers.
Jake and Elwood.
I thought it was a bad omen, Jim, when the Bulls brothers missed the stuff at the game on Sunday night. I figured that meant the Bulls were going to lose. Fortunately, it didn't happen that way.
You know, most of the time they miss the Bulls win.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. They've been making them all through the playoffs, though.
Is that right?
The stuffs, yeah.
These guys tour all over the country now.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And the two women in the middle used to be lovable. Now they're making big-time appearances.
Oh, God bless them. I'm glad they're making a good living.
Hey, they were there early on.
Yeah.
Now they're cashing in.
We just saw a person with the number 23 on. I wonder if the number 23 has surpassed the number 34 in this town.
Oh, that's a lot of man right there.
Jake and Elwood, the Blues brothers, or the Bulls brothers.
I see why they make a lot of appearances, Diane. They work the crowd very well.
They're big.
And there is such a striking resemblance to the guys who were in the movie to Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
I wonder if they have to pay royalties to Aykroyd and Belushi.
Good question.
By now, it probably doesn't matter.
The estate, I mean.
Let's have a big welcome to the
Well, now Chuck has a very close-up view of all this. Chuck, what are you seeing down there?
Yeah, it's quite a view from down in front, Diane, I'll tell you that. Mayor Daley has been backstage here for about 45 minutes, and I think only the Chicago Bulls could keep the mayor of Chicago waiting for 45 minutes. But he's got a lot of company out here waiting for the Bulls to come out on stage, don't you think?
I have to say George Wendt must have the most unbelievable PR person in the world. He has been at every Chicago sports event forever.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Sunday, shall we?
Yes, Sunday.
As we know, Sunday was an unforgettable day in Chicago sports history. That's right. We feel the exact same way. Danny Jackson finally won a game in Wrigley Field.
That's right.
That's right.
It's a big day. And of course, needless to say, we saw the inevitable coronation, or should I say re-coronation, of a certain team known as...
The Balls.
Thank you so much.
Fait accompli, my friend. Now, we have a telegram here.
We got a telegram.
Yeah, from the city of Chicago to the city of Portland. It reads simply, na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye, my friend.
There's more. P.S. Na 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 na. Hey! My friends, ask not for whom Gary glitters for. He glitters for doubles.
Play on our turf, but I guess they're back in Portland eating salmon, my friend.
That's right. And I thought fish was supposed to be brain food.
No,
I guess not.
They gotta try some pork chops.
Try some bratwurst next time.
Now the series was a little bit closer than we predicted, you know?
That's right. Our prediction was the Bulls in 3.
Yeah, they could have done that. A call here.
A shot here, a referee.
Here's a momentum thing. Still, it was a great night. The only problem was all that looting and rioting. And you know.
Yeah, let's talk for a moment here.
Yeah.
That was a shame.
Oh, yeah.
The looting and rioting. It's not Chicago, my friend.
No way. We think it's a damn
shame. Look like some kind of New York cesspool or something. It's not Chicago. We're nice people.
We think it's a damn shame that in a city of 3 million people, you got those 2 million jerks who ruin it for the other million.
That's right.
Let's sing this song. All right, we're going to do a song here.
We got a little tune for you.
Yeah, we got an audience participation part. The rules are this. When we sing "Da Balls," you sing "Da Balls."
All right? Mr. Music, if you please.
Dance! We don't dance. We're too cool to dance.
This is dedicated to Pat Riley, who stole Nick's haircut.
I, New York, sure wish that you were here. Fuck Detroit and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because I'm the guy who pulls for a certain Midwestern team known as the Bulls.
As long as one Michael Jordan roams the sky. Isaiah and Lampier need not apply.
For the Olympic leader.
For my friends, just one team rules. The 12 Hale and Hardy men we call the Bulls. The Bulls. French, here we go. Only one team can rise to the top while the others drop a log. A certain team from a certain town that starts with a C, ends with an O, and in the middle is Chicago. Read them and weep, my friends.
Read them and weep, my friends.
Read them and weep, my friends. Yes, indeed. carefully. Because men cannot live on hoops alone. Coach Ditka sits upon his mighty throne. I have no fears or cares, for I know that the Super Bowl champ shall be the Bears. The Bears! The Bears! The Bears!
Perhaps if all the Bulls were 1 foot tall, we might see some competitive basketball. Till then, we'll gladly pull for the fine fleet to mark sheep that is the Bulls. The Bulls. See you next year. The year after.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Tim. The Bulls going to have a rough time when they go to Cleveland next year after hearing this.
Detroit may be pretty bad, too.
It just doesn't ring true to rap Portland, though, because that was a really nice town and really nice people. Yep. A lot less fun beating them than Detroit.
The annual Chicago Bulls Championship Let's start the program with the Rutledge Sisters and the national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous bar. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regulate the first bursting in.
Play ball.
And on the stage now come the Bulls, led by their assistant coaches, Jim Clemens, Johnny Bach, Tex Winter.
And here it is, the Bulls' wedding song.
Hey, aren't the lights supposed to go off?
Most explosive introduction in sports history.
No question
Not bar none, nobody's topped it, nobody's come close. For some people, it's their favorite part of the game.
Yep. The entire lineup of your back-to-back Chicago Bulls NBA champions. North Carolina, Scott Williams.
Scotty's in a better mood today. He wasn't happy yesterday.
From Iowa, Bobby Hansen.
Wired from Sacramento for Dennis Hobson.
For Dennis Hobson.
Look at Bobby.
From Oklahoma, Stacey King.
The left-hander from
Last year they booed him. Last year they booed Stacey. This year he's a hero.
And well, he should be after that performance in the final 4 minutes.
From Iowa, B.J. Armstrong.
There's a young man who will be starting at point guard perhaps next season. And that is no disrespect to John Paxson.
From Wichita State, Cliff Good News Livingston. From Vanderbilt, Will Perdue.
Didn't see much playing time in the NBA Finals, but he's one of the guys that got him there. Played hard against New York and Cleveland.
Long Beach State, Greg Hodges.
Craig's contract is up July the 1st, and there are 2 teams interested in him, from what I hear, Miami and New York.
Horace Grant.
The G-Man.
I always loved Horace. When I found out he was a Honeymooners fan, I loved him even more. Hey there, Ralphie boy.
A co-captain from San Francisco, Bill Cartwright.
The man has been much maligned, the man in the middle, but let me tell you something, folks. He's got the trophy. And without him, without a low-post center like Bill Cartwright, the Bulls would not be here today.
From Notre Dame, Johnny Paxson.
You know, you got to hand it to John Paxson. He came here from San Antonio, one of the original guys with Michael Jordan and John Paxson. John Paxson deserves everybody's respect, and there he is. He'll wear number 8 on the USA basketball team for the Olympics.
From North Carolina, Michael Jordan.
And he's got the other trophy. You know, they got 2 of them now. That's the way to go. The 2 captains, Bill Cartwright and Michael Jordan, with the trophy. He's cradling it like a newborn baby, of which his wife Juanita will be giving him in December, their 3rd child. The original flowered child of the NBA, wearing a flowered shirt today. But he sure used that great business acumen to translate what he wanted to get onto the court to win those 2 championships. You know something, Tim? Defense. Jerry Reinsdorf told me New York-style Knick defense, and that's what Phil Jackson brought to this team.
You know, Johnny's pretty good at this intro stuff.
Let me introduce now the general manager of this great club, Jerry Krause.
Unaffectionately, they call him Crumbs from time to time, but people should have more respect for this man.
To the world's greatest fans, the 2nd time we're here. And it's more satisfying than the 1st time. And it's beautiful, and it's all for you. Thank you.
Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, the fans are glad to accept some of it. The money goes to the players.
That's right.
And now,
they just want some tickets.
and any coach in the playoffs, Coach Phil Jackson. It's twice as nice, is it not?
He sounds like Bill, doesn't he? Cartwright.
I must introduce the coaching staff that's worked so many hours with me and seated behind. Jim Clemens, a defensive specialist. Johnny Bach.
Ace of Spades, there it is.
Tex Winter.
The calling card.
And the weight conditioning coaches, Al Vermeil, his assistant, Eric Helen. Thank you very much.
I wish all the politicians would keep their speeches short and sweet like Phil.
Just thinking the same thing.
And the man who brought us through so many nicks and bruises during this season, our trainer, Chip Schaefer.
Yes, indeed.
That's right.
couple of other people here who should be recognized. They're behind the scenes, and they do tremendous jobs in bringing you people the players that make this franchise. Jimmy Stack, one of the fine scouts in professional basketball. Clarence Gaines Jr., who is not here right now. He's with a prospect coming into town, and he's outstanding too. And my left arm, who's down here, is Karen Stack, who does a tremendous job for this organization. Thank you very much. We hope to be here a third time. Thank you.
Both of them played at Northwestern. Well, I guess that's official now, Tim. Three-peat. He said a third time.
All right, we're going to do what we did last year. Would you like to hear from the players?
Is Chicago a great town? I mean, of course we want to hear from the players, Johnny.
All the equipment is here also. Johnny Legmanowski. Johnny. All right, let's get them up here to the mic and see if they've got something to say. How about we'll start with the guy that made some mega blocks, the Terminator, Scotty Williams.
The Terminator, I like that. Get some T-shirts made up of that.
After Scott, there's going to be Bobby, Stacy, BJ, Cliff, Will, Craig, Horace, Bill, John, Scottie Pippen, and then, of course, Michael Jordan.
Hello, Chicago. How's it feel? I just want to say thank you for cheering us on to victory in that fourth quarter. Without you guys, we knew we had a whole city behind us. The stadium was rocking. It really made it happen for us. I'm not going to talk about the three-peat because Horace Grant always tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about anyway. But I will say one thing. Real men do it twice.
Real men do it thrice.
Right.
All right, you all know the Bulls were down by 15 starting the fourth quarter, but let's hear it from the guy that had the three that got it going. Bobby Hansen.
I tell you, it's so nice for him to be in this situation and for him to contribute.
We love her. This is great the first time, Scotty. I guess I ain't a real man until I come back and do it again.
You got that right,
Scotty. These guys accepting me and the coaching staff and Jerry Krause and the organization, allowing me to come here and be a part of their team, the World Championship team of last year. I want to thank them. Thank you, the fans of Chicago, the greatest city in the world. A guy that played a pivotal role also in that fourth quarter comeback. Let's have for Stacey King, eh?
Nice to hear the cheers this year instead of the jeers.
I'd like to say thank you for the fans who cheered for us all year long. We've been through a lot of adversity this year as a team. We hung in there real tight and we won. As you know, I like to do Bill Cartwright's voice. I've retired from doing Bill's voice as of today. This is the last time you'll hear it.
Thank you very much. It's been really great. Thank you.
And by the way, I'm not finished. Not.
King man.
All right, we got a guy that hit a nice jumper in that fourth quarter. They call him the Kid, B.J. Armstrong. All right. I just want to say, the first time we did it was just an incredible feeling for all of the fans and all the people in the city of Chicago to share in this moment in victory. And for us to do it again twice has been a remarkable achievement by the team and by you guys for supporting us all year. Just want to say thank you. Hope we can be here again next year. God bless all of you. Thanks a lot. Last year, Jerry Krause found a free agent and brought him here. We thought it was good news. Let's hear it for good news. Cliff Livingston.
He's always got a smile on his face, too.
Well, we're here again, and it's been a great ride. It's been a roller coaster ride all year. Through all the adversity we overcame, with all the things everybody was saying about us, didn't think we could do it again, but we proved everybody wrong. We're here. We got one more ring. I just want to say thanks to the fans of Chicago. You guys are the best fans that anybody could ever have behind them. I don't think without you guys it would have been possible to push us through that last game. You guys gave us the energy that we needed to get over the hump, and I just say thank you. And the party is at the Good News Riviera.
I love the little plug.
Of course, he didn't say when.
Well, it's right after this parade that there's the pluggers all over the poles
Bulls
there.
lost a couple games in the playoffs. Who kept our spirits up? Mr. 900 number, Will Perdue.
Now you know something prophetic is going to come from his lips.
All right. I got two things to say. All right. The first time was neat. The second time was one heck of a feat. This time, I had one hell of a seat.
And all he has to do now is say it's time for the three-peat.
The third time will be oh so sweet. See the man downtown, remember, he's buying.
They're all hot tonight.
Ooh, boy.
A local product, a long-range threat always, the three-point champion of the NBA, Craig Hodges.
His nickname is Sparky because when he comes off the bench, he's a spark plug.
All right. First of all, I want to thank Almighty God for blessing us with 2 championships. And last year I said it would be sweet to repeat. Now we say repeat, repeat will definitely be sweet. You know, every team has a policeman when things get tough down in the lane. But the Bulls, they turn to the G-Man, Horace Grant.
General Grant.
All right. I would just like to salute all my fans out there as the general. Without you guys in the fourth quarter, believe me, it probably would have been a game 7. But you guys cheered us on in the fourth quarter. The bench did a great job. Michael came in. Scotty held the team together out there. Thank you for your support.
Well, this league has some of the fine centers, Patrick Ewing, Akeem Olajuwon, all those good guys. But we got a guy that's been the center on 2 years now on the championship team. Let's hear from the co-captain, Bill Cartwright.
I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking out to see if I can see the end of this crowd. And I'm also looking for some 250-pound right-handers to go to Stacy's camp.
Oh, gotcha. Zinger.
I just want to tell you, 67 home wins, 2 championships, 104 games this year. And here we are, right back here. We couldn't have done it without you. We will be back.
Another three-peat man.
A guy that always comes up with the big game. They should start calling this guy the gamer, Johnny Paxson.
Last year I talked about how nice it would be back here a year later. Well, here we are. We got our first one in 91, our second one in 92, maybe our third in 93. offensive team member, a member of your U.S. Olympic team, a man with a lot of courage, a lot of talent, Scottie Pippen.
Thank you, fans here. Last season it was great because we felt like that we did it as a team. But this year, I think this championship definitely belongs to you fans because you guys brought the best of us in the fourth quarter. Thank you very much. Let's go for a three-piece.
You know, it only happened once. A player was named the NBA All-Star most valuable, the NBA season most valuable player, and followed it up by the most valuable player in the playoffs. And our guy did it twice. Now here he is without his cape, Michael Jordan.
As everybody has expressed today, I think it's very thrilling to play basketball here in the city of Chicago and to play in front of all these fans. Without you guys' support, there's no way we would have done it twice. Without you guys' support, there's no way we're going to be able to do it for the third time. And I'd like to say a special thanks to the organization, to the city of Chicago. Thank God you drafted me instead of Portland.
I'd like to bring up Kathy Osterman, Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Special Events, for a presentation to Michael and the team.
Michael, on behalf of the city of Chicago and all your fans, that's our banner designed for you and all the players. Let's give them another cheer.
Very nice touch.
Kathy, I'd like you to stay up here if you will. Kathy, I'd like to bring up the man that is responsible for all these fine things that are happening here to the Chicago Bulls again. Let me bring up Jerry Reinsdorf for a presentation of this World Championship trophy that will be displayed at City Hall so all the citizens of Chicago can view this as your players have.
You know, I'm kind of surprised we heard from George Wendt, but not from Mayor Daley.
I have to lean down to the microphone.
We may soon yet.
This great team, this great coaching staff won the championship. They won it for you, the people of Chicago, and your trophy will be on display as soon as it's engraved at City Hall, so be sure you come by and see it.
I think we've reached the end of the show here. Johnny Kerr holds up the three fingers the fans make for the exits, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The end of the celebration at Grant Park for the Bulls defending world champions. Everybody says, why do you call them world champions? Because they only play in the United States. Find me another basketball team anywhere in the world that's going to beat these guys.
How about getting an all-star team from all around the world to play the Bulls? They still lose.
All right, the city of Chicago has spoken.
Well, we'll see how long it takes the Bulls to get out of here.
Next thing left for two members of the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, will be the Olympics in Barcelona.
And they leave in what? This weekend?
They leave this Saturday, Sunday for San Diego for some practice trials and whatever. And then they go up to Portland for the Americas games, as they call them, where they will have 10 teams from around the world that are in this zone, the North American zone, and they will play for the 4 spots that will go to Barcelona for the Olympic Games.
Well, it was a wonderful day. I'm glad that we were able to be a part of it, and I'm glad you were able to be a part of it, too, with us on television. If you couldn't be down here in person, it was really spectacular.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Saw every single angle on TV.
Yeah. All right, Eyewitness News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 will, of course, have lots of other vignettes from today's activities. But in the meantime, we're going to join All My Children in Progress and hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye,
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
See you, folks.
These Asian gangsters have chosen America for their